so my name is Mrs. Leo. My last name is Liu, and I work in the Career Center.
Awesome. So for the first question, how have the SATs and ACTs changed due to COVID-19, and what information can you give the students of SMHS regarding these tests at the moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's been lots of changes now with the SAT and ACT due to the pandemic. The main thing is that, most students have not even had the opportunity to test, and almost every single school is going at least test optional for the fall, for the fall of 2021. So that'll be for our current seniors, okay? Test optional means that you can submit test scores if you have some, if you had the opportunity to test, or if you're planning on testing in the fall. And if you submit them, they will use those scores to determine admissions, and then also to possibly to determine eligibility for some scholarships that they have. Now, on the other hand, some schools are test blind. And test blind is slightly different. It basically means whether you submit scores or not, they are not going to look at them, okay? So the challenge for you guys as seniors is you do kind of need to be aware for every single school that you're interested in, what is their new testing policy. If you have not been able to test, that's okay. Almost every single school is at least test optional, okay? You do not need to take the SAT or ACT. But you might want to look into if any of your schools if they're test optional, there might be some benefits to taking the test. So it really depends. If you have specific questions, you can reach out to your counselor, you can reach out to me, and we can have a more detailed conversation. So the main line is that you don't need to take the test for pretty much any school that you're interested in. But there might be some benefits depending on the schools you're applying to.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
So do you have any new resources or even like old resources that you can really support upperclassmen in preparation for the SATs and ACTs during distance learning?
Yeah, so, if you are preparing for the SAT and ACT, there are tons of online resources. Specifically for the SAT, they actually partner with Khan Academy. And if you go to the College Board's website and just look for SAT practice, they have a lot of resources there, and they are all free for students, okay? For the ACT, you can also go to their website, and they have some free resources as well. They do not have a full online platform. Well, they have one, but it's not free, unfortunately. But the other thing I would recommend is you can also just go on Amazon or any bookstore, and you can buy the test prep books. Those are the big ones that look like a phone book, like an old phone book. And they usually cost about $15 to $20. So not free, but also not super expensive. So that's my best advice.
Great. Are there any major changes that our students should know about college applications due to COVID-19?
That's a great question as well. So, as far as the applications themselves, they're not very different, even though we're in a completely new environment here. So, applications are all online. You can complete them all at home on your computer. They're going to ask for the same information, your transcript information, clubs and extracurricular activities you've been involved in, essays, all of those things. But a few things are different. So on the common application, they did add a question about the pandemic specifically and talking about how you were affected and what you did during the time. If you have something meaningful to write about, you could also include that in your essays. For example, for the UC PIQs, I wouldn't say, it would be if it's something important about you that you want to share. Transcripts get a little bit more complicated because now we've switched from the full year classes to the terms, to the semester-long terms. And so we're definitely going to have some workshops to help you with those steps specifically. So even though the application didn't change, the way that we fill them out changed a little bit. And then the other thing that I definitely want everyone to know when it comes to financial aid applications, A lot of families have had changes to their financial situation because of the pandemic, and colleges know that. So just keep in mind, when you're working on the FAFSA, when you're working on any financial aid applications, you're going to fill it out exactly the way they ask you to fill it out. And then if you have changes to your financial situation because of the pandemic, you're going to be reaching out to those colleges specifically, okay? And sometimes for application fee waivers, you can do the same thing. So just keep that in mind. Colleges understand there's a lot of changes. And so even though the applications themselves haven't changed, the way you fill them out might have.
Okay, thank you. And then finally, what advice can you provide for upperclassmen applying to colleges?
Yeah, so, for all of our seniors who are working on their applications, the main thing is to be checking those websites for every single college you're interested in, because that's going to have the most up-to-date information. That's where they're going to post. And, many colleges have similar application steps, but it is determined by the college. So you'll want to follow up with them and make sure you're meeting all of their requirements. And the other thing is, stay organized, ask for help, edit everything, okay? Even your applications, not just your essays. Ask your English teacher, ask a parent or relative, ask me, send them to me and I can edit any essays you have, or your counselors can do that as well. And then make sure you get everything turned in by Thanksgiving. So we say no pie until you apply. So you want all your college applications and financial aid applications turned in. So we have a couple months right now, okay, but don't procrastinate. We want to get to work on those because that Thanksgiving break ends up coming faster than we think. Go Knights!
Thank you.